Hello and welcome to another episode of Showmakers. Today we've Mike Boyd from the fantastic channel Learn Quick. Thanks for being on the show, Mike.
Absolutely no problem. Delighted to be here.
So Mike, tell us how you got into YouTube and how you came up with the idea for the channel Learn Quick.
Okay, so I guess everyone thinks that their story of how they got into YouTube is interesting, but here goes. Here's my best attempt. So I actually was studying for my master's degree at the time, and I was just bored, and I had this idea, the concept of this of Learn Quick popped into my head, and that is to choose a skill and film every second that you're working on the skill until you've achieved some sort of milestone, and then to edit that into a video. And I had I was interested in photography, and as a natural progression, I began becoming interested in video. And I chose that concept just to learn how to do video. It wasn't really to launch a channel that had to do with Learn Quick. That just kind of happened. And then I started working as an engineer, and my interest in photography continued, and I decided to make a YouTube channel about photography. But it was during those videos that I was making that my Learn Quick original video kind of blew up. And I've just decided to run with that instead, because I kind of fell out of love with photography and fell in love with just dabbling at everything. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And that's kind of how that happened. It was a little bit of, I wanted to make a YouTube channel. It's just I wasn't certain on what it was to be about. So I left that part to chance.
And do you remember like what spurred the idea of learning? I guess the first video was learning to kick clip in 5 hours and 47 minutes. Where did that idea come from? Do you remember?
I was watching the Masters. I think it was on at Carnoustie that year. I can't remember. No, sorry, no, not the Masters. The British Open might have been at Carnoustie. Perhaps it was the Masters. Anyway, I was watching golf, and they had this guy on, and he went from scratch, from never having swung a club, and his plan was to become a PGA Tour golfer. And the thing that caught my attention about this interview wasn't the guy or what he was trying to do. It was the way he quantified his practice, and it was in hours. And I had never heard anyone quantify what they were doing in hours. That was an interesting concept to me, because when someone says 10,000 hours to you, it's hard to put that into. It's hard to get your head around what that actually is in terms of, how many days, how many years, how many months are you going to be practicing to achieve 10,000 hours of practice? So he reckoned it was 10,000 hours to become a professional golfer, and he just logged every hour. I kind of followed his journey for a while. I think he got really, really good at golf, but I think he was hampered by injury. I'm not sure where he is right now. But he got from never having swung a golf club to like a 6 handicap, or maybe even lower than that. And he was like 6,000 or 7,000 hours in by the time I discovered him. So I ran with that concept of timing things, of learning in hours. And, golf sucks. So I decided to go with skateboarding. And that's how the concept was born. From the person who wrote the book, I think it's Outliers, that kind of coined the phrase 10,000 hours. And this guy, I think the guy was he marketed his endeavor as the Dan Plan. His goal of becoming a professional golfer within 10,000 hours of dedicated practice. And that's where I got the idea.
And there was a fair bit of time between your first and second video, right? Like that was the period where it kind of did it blow up a month or two after you uploaded it.
Yeah. So I uploaded it, and then I uploaded it, and I used it to get familiar with editing, and
right.
And then I started working on what I intended to be the genre of the channel, which was photography. And It was during that time that someone discovered that video, and it posted it to Reddit, and then Reddit, it got traction there. And that's how that happened. So yeah, it sat stagnant for maybe 2 months.
Well, okay. It's always interesting to see how things get picked up, kind of not immediately after the upload.
Yeah. Well, when you have no one who's subscribed, there's no reason why anyone would watch that. So yeah, it just takes one guy to post it to Reddit though, and that's it.
I think Brian and I both know that very well.
Yeah. I think you guys both know that Reddit is the key to success.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah. I think both of us have had our first bit of exposure off Reddit. It's a really good site for just getting that first bit of traction. But I think myself and Sam have quite differing opinions on Reddit. My first experience was people just like
hating on you.
Yeah. Well, like it was my own fault for the title I put in. It was like I quit my job to start a YouTube channel. This is my second video or something. Just clickbaity shite.
Yeah, but what I loved about that is now, almost 2 years later, probably, there was a specific comment that I distinctly remember because I actually found out about Brian's channel through Reddit too, when both of our channels were tiny. And the specific comment was in response to the title saying, "Don't quit your," "I quit my job to do YouTube." The comment was something along the line of "Don't quit your day job." Oh wait, you already have.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was a bad video too. It wasn't a great video but like it's nice to look back on that and be like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah, look at me now. Well, yeah, I mean, I've also experienced the brutality of Reddit because when I was doing the photography thing, I was into street photography, and I messed up once. I took a photo of the wrong person without asking, and basically it resulted in a broken nose. And just being the clickbaity YouTuber that I am, I, of course, forged that into a video. And yeah, I can't even watch it. I didn't even private the video. I just straight up deleted it. But yeah, I put that on Reddit and felt the force of the no shite takers on Reddit.
Yeah. See, there is very little tolerance on Reddit for anything.
What I find about Reddit is like with my videos tends to be, looking at a specific topic that generally there are a ton of people who know a lot more about it than me. Since it's a bit of a general channel, unlike Brian's, which is more focused on engineering, because that's what he actually knows about. Whereas I do more videos about things that I know nothing about. Well, sure, but so generally any video, like any aviation video, which is the most common type on my channel, will get posted to like the r/aviation subreddit, and they hate me there.
Why?
I'm like their least favorite person.
Do they think that what you're saying is incorrect?
It's more like they view or specific people on there because people who are really into aviation tend to be very outspoken.
People who are into aviation tend to be really into aviation, right?
Oh yeah,
there's no one who dabbles in aviation.
Well, I say I dabble more than most, actually, but
you dabble and have a YouTube channel with I don't know how many plane videos you have on the channel, but
it's a bunch.
But it's a lot.
The main reason they're there is because they did so well, so they were so successful. Like that was not anything that I was more interested than anything else really before doing all the videos. Yeah. But anyway, with the whole problem is that they're so kind of almost generalized in a way because they're made for a general audience. They're not made for people who are into aviation. They're kind of simplifying things, and often people will comment saying like, "Oh, you didn't cover this part. Why did you leave this out?" And they see it as wrong due to omission in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, not to compare you to Justin Bieber or anything, but where is this going? But I always found it weird the way people complain about like music artists that are clearly meant for kids and stuff like that as well. It's like, it's not for you, like just know the audience. But in the same way that even my videos, like I try to keep it as complicated as possible, and it does get fairly technical, but I'll still get someone who knows a ridiculous amount about the subject complaining that I didn't count like some really abstract engineering thing into it, or that I didn't do the last one. They were complaining that it wasn't original research, that I just copied from a research paper. It's like,
That's absurd.
It's a YouTube channel. What's your deal? Like,
But I mean, the point of the research paper is to summarize a bunch of research that they've done, right? So
yeah.
So if you're quoting that, or if you've read that, then well, yeah, that's the whole point of that, to prevent you from doing all that research.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get Reddit sometimes. They like to hate stuff that, I don't know, doesn't exactly, it wasn't meant for them. Like, it wasn't meant for someone who had like super like in-depth knowledge of that subject. It's meant to give someone a good surface level understanding of it and introduce them to the subject.
I found an interesting thing with the internet, and it always surprises me, is if you have a relatively small population, it's amazing how much they know as a group about a certain subject. Like they can pull together bits of information, and as a whole they know so much. So for example, on Patreon, I posted a video just where I told them that I had learned to make bread. And I didn't make a video for my YouTube channel, I just learned it for myself. So I posted a video of me just kneading dough whilst I talked, and just gave them like an update on the channel and things like that. And I have like, I don't know, at that time I had 60 patrons. And between those 60 people, there was like 10 experts on bread. And they were like, oh, you should use more water. You should hydrate the dough more. Oh, you should use this yeast. Oh, you should stretch it out for longer. Oh, you're overproving the bread. And I could not believe how much they knew. And it was all solid stuff, you know, like from years of experience of baking. And there was only 60 people. So when you go to Reddit and there's 150 million daily users, or whatever the number is now, and you post a video about a topic like, I don't know, aviation or Formula One engineering, it's just, there's so many people who know so much about it. And if you know something, that it's so tempting to tell everyone that you know that on the internet. I don't know what the internet is weird.
That's the main thing. You get it a bit on YouTube, but it's far more prevalent on Reddit, that if there's something there, even if it was like completely irrelevant to the topic, it's like a kid in class kind of putting up a question and putting his hand up to ask a question that they already know the answer to, because they just want to show off that they know something. It's a bit frustrating, and especially on Reddit, things tend to get upvoted as well if it's kind of going against of what was said in the video. Everyone likes to say that there's something wrong, and those ones usually get upvoted more. Because like you have to have a witch hunt on Reddit all the time to make sure, like to call people what was I think they said keeping me honest was what they called it in the last post.
Oh, they're so snarky.
But the thing the guy said was completely irrelevant to the video. He was complaining that I didn't talk about the grid inefficiencies, like the power loss through the grid, when talking about the range of a truck, which obviously has absolutely no effect on the range. And I think that was like one of the most upvoted posts on it. I was like, what the hell? Like,
see, what I've come to realize is that the internet, and Reddit in particular, if you say the word generally or most of the time or anything along those lines, those words go right over their heads. So one example that this is a very specific example, but I said like generally or most of the time, or I don't know, one of those. In most cases, the all business class airlines fail. The economics don't work. And then that particular comment, even though I said in most cases, I got for the next month all these emails, all these comments and everything about this one example of a successful all business class airline. Or it wasn't even an airline. It was one route. I know exactly what it is now. It's the London City to New York, British Airways, all business class route. That's the only example. So now that I've seen, now I've just
said it's in the podcast. someone else will email you saying, well, actually,
I just said it was the only example, but I'm sure I'm going to get it. Damn it. Oops.
But yeah, this has turned into a bitch about Reddit podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Reddit is great. They gave us
I owe everything to Reddit. Let's be honest.
Please don't turn against us, Reddit. We love you, really.
Yeah. So moving on, I think my first exposure to your channel was the Smarter Everyday collaboration with the Backwards Brain Bike, which was a really good video from him and a really good video from you. And I'm just kind of curious, I don't know what the size of your channel was like at that time, or I don't remember rather. So what was that like? How did it come about? Did Destin just like email you or something saying, hey, can you learn to ride my bike?
So, I mean, yeah, Destin just hit me up in the DMs. I think he commented on the YouTube channel, on the kickflip video. And then we got chatting on Twitter, and then the conversation came about that it just seemed so natural that this was the next thing to do, and the fact that he was chatting to me, and like I knew that the bikes were available, and it was his suggestion. Actually, he didn't say anything. He just said, "I'm going to send you something." And then I sent it to my work, because I didn't want to miss it. So it just
done something similar to me as well.
Yeah, and it just showed up at work, and we built it in I worked in an engineering office, so we built it in the workshop, and of course everyone was having a go of it, and they were like, "Mike, you try it," and I was like, "Nope, I can't try it off camera. So I was watching other people try it, and I was like, "This is going to be impossible." So yeah, it was just a Twitter conversation, and at the time I think when I was actually chatting with Destin, I think I had 2 videos up, maybe one or two, and like 2,000 subscribers. So yeah, it was a bit of a risk for Destin, because that's not a lot of content to vet someone on, you know. So yeah. He sent the bike out. I learned it pretty quick, and then it's in my studio now.
How many subs did you get? He showed you in one of his videos, right?
No, so it was like a one. The Backwards Brain Bike video was already out on Destin's channel, and it had already accumulated something like 12 million views. So this was much later. So he just sent me the bike and a clip, in which I included in my video.
Okay,
but he worked his Reddit
out and all that.
Yeah, he worked his Reddit magic. He's a. I know we're trying to get away from Reddit, but he's a beast on Reddit. He has authority. Yeah,
Mr.
Pennywhistle.
Yeah. Destin is just super helpful. I've fawned over Destin many times on this podcast, but he's just a solid dude.
Yeah, the guy runs I don't know how many projects at once. I figured he doesn't sleep at all, because he has a full-time job, and then he has a massive YouTube channel. He has a podcast. I don't know how he does it.
And he also has like 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I could not imagine doing anything with 5 kids around the place. Like,
I mean, Jesus. Me and my fiance have been contemplating getting a cat for a year, and we always end up at, no, it's too much work. And a cat requires almost zero work.
Cats are like houseplants.
Yeah. Like you just feed them and they're done. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, how many kids has he got? And yeah, he's a monster. He's a machine.
And you've recently got a studio as well. I saw on your Patreon, your last Patreon post, you did a tour of the studio. That's a pretty huge, exciting step.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's a little bit risky, and but we started viewing studios. I went down south to work with a guy called Alex Steele. He's a blacksmith.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be traveling out next month to meet him as well.
Oh yeah, he mentioned, yeah. And just a heads up, he's exactly as he is on camera, off camera. So yeah, drink your coffee.
This is what I was terrified about. It's like I'm going to seem so like mundane standing next to him. And be like, yeah.
There was a couple of times where I spoke on camera and he was like, "Can you liven that up a bit?" And I and I said, "Well, to be honest, that is me livening it up." And but he's a fantastic guy. You'll get on with him. He's a really, really nice chap. We're good friends. So yeah, I went to visit him, and I couldn't believe the operation he was running. The studio, the basically the business he has around his YouTube channel. It really impressed me and opened my eyes to how to make this work properly, in term both financially and in terms of just making your life easier. So one of the huge problems we have is setting up cameras, and my content is very spontaneous. It's not scripted, and it's on camera. So if anything happens, it has to be caught nicely. It has to be caught well, and it's just so difficult to do within your living room. So I came back from Alex's studio and I immediately started looking for studios, and we were looking at some awful places, and then we found the one that I have now, and it's actually initially when I walked in, I thought no, but then my fiance came around to it. It's a 2-floor warehouse with offices below,
Right.
and it has a carpet. And it is massive. So we just thought, yeah, let's do it. Let's do a 6-month lease and see if we can make this work. And I've only been in it a week now, but everything is so much easier with a space.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's probably the most time-consuming and wasteful process for me of, like, I work in a co-working space at the moment because I just hate working from home. It's depressing working from home. You need a separation between life and work.
Yeah, well, that was also another big part of it. Just a place to go, to work, to edit.
You're just so much more productive.
Totally.
And happy. But then I waste so much time just going home to record sometimes. Like if I need to make a small edit to the script or something because there's something wrong, and that'll change the timing on the animations completely if I change the script. So I have to go home and record it, and then I'll either go back into the office to animate again or whatever. And it'd be so nice to have a mic even just set on my desk so I can like make an edit on the fly. It's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. That would be huge, but it's definitely a step that I want to make soon. Like I seen your one in particular, is like, okay, I really need to do this. This is just seems like such a huge monumental step in like an actual business. It's not just, you're not just making videos at home anymore. It's like a proper business.
Yeah, and also when you arrive in the studio, it's time to work. It's time to film. It's time to edit. Whereas in the house, it's like, oh, is it time for another cup of coffee? It's difficult to. So yeah, you're totally right. But I would say that it's going to cost me about $5,000 to make this place sound nice on audio. Right, yeah. so maybe,
it's a doer-upper.
Yeah. So we've settled on lav mics for now, which I think will work for what I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, audio is a problem.
Could you not just see? I know nothing about audio engineering now, but I'm sure if you put up some things on the wall, it would take down the echo. There seems to be a bit of an echo in there.
Yeah, I think some stuff on the ceilings and some stuff on the walls would sort that out. Yeah, I've not actually looked into it too much because it's not been that big a concern. This next year, I've decided to actually work less on production value and work more on storyline and content.
Right.
Because I'm not certain that from what I do, pumping up the production value is the best direction. I don't want to alienate people by creating a full-on TV show.
Yeah, you're perfect at the moment with the level of production value. Like the one you did with the wheelies and stuff, I was really impressed with the shots you're getting of like just driving along with the bike. Like just that's all, like just small little things like that you're not, like no one really cares about lighting and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're totally
right. As long
right.
as you're showing,
as long as the thing you're doing is interesting,
Yeah.
Because that's what people come to YouTube for. They don't come to watch, a TV show. They come to watch a YouTube video.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, there's a reason people are moving away from TV shows. Like,
yeah, I think it alienates people, and is sometimes uninspiring because it's difficult to see how you could ever achieve anything like that. It's more just an exhibition of this is what they did.
Do you know Colin Furze?
Yeah, I binge watched that
like
stuff.
amazing channel. But his YouTube Red show was just weird.
Because it's all like nicely lit and
it was too professional. Again, it was a bit more kid kind of focused, which I don't get. Like, why do you try and like market it to someone that aren't watching his original shows? Obviously, a lot of kids do watch that, but his normal viewers kind of watch it and is like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, do we still have Sam? By the way, Sam, you still on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've just been listening.
Sorry. What did you think of Vsauce, the YouTube Red show?
I was about to bring that up because I had heard the exact same thoughts. I think especially the second season, I think was very well received, but the main criticism was that it kind of just felt like a Discovery Channel show.
Yeah. I mean, because some of Michael's earlier videos, there was zero concern for production value, but they did so well because the content and him and his voice and the way he describes things was so interesting and so captivating that it completely overshadowed the lack of production value. Mm-hmm. And I think when you put in massive production to someone like Michael, it kind of takes away from what it is.
Yeah, it definitely takes the kind of the focus off the personality.
Yeah,
like you're kind of focusing on all the different things in the show instead. That was still really good though. Like that's the one YouTube Red show I've like actually watched.
Yeah.
It was particularly telling when they got him on the like. I would take an entire YouTube Red show of just pumping Michael up with drugs. Like that shit was hilarious.
I haven't seen that one. He did Truth Theorem and what's the other one? DMT.
He did the one
Trolley Experiment.
The one in the Amazon, the psychedelic. Like that was really interesting. But the Truth Theorem was interesting because they were trying to get him to admit what his sister's name was and what show he was working on. And at the start, like they're trying to ask him questions, and he's kind of like, "Oh, you nearly got me there," but they just keep on pumping more drugs into him.
Really? Until
he's
safe?
Just like, I'm sure they weren't.
I'm sure
pumping him like overdosing on this thing. It's just something. It just basically makes you drunk, but it's just like a small injectable. It seems to just make you drunk. It just inhibits your like inhibitions or whatever. And they asked him what his sister's name was, and then he kind of just went off talking about her. Completely forgot that he was supposed to be hiding that information. But then they asked him about what show he was working on, and he said, what is it, Minefield, isn't it?
Yep.
And then it was like, oh, which one do you prefer working for, Minefield or Vsauce? I think that was the original question. He was like, oh, definitely Vsauce. He's like, why is that? It's just like, I don't like the executives telling me what to do.
Oh dear. Okay, well, yeah. I guess those shows are. I watched Minefield and I thought it was excellent, but not as a Vsauce fan, as just a brand new fan to this new entity, this new program that is on YouTube Red. If that made sense.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
like if it was on the Discovery Channel, I think people would love it as an independent show. They're just kind of tied to the Vsauce style, which is so unique.
Yeah,
so it's something.
It kind of reminded me of like the old Mythbusters shows or something.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Like those were really good shows. But yeah, I wish they'd do more stuff like that rather than trying to pander to the kind of kids audience. Like the audience on YouTube is getting older as well. So it'd be nice to have, like, there's plenty of Logan Paul fucking YouTube Red shows and stuff, and Scare PewDiePie. Like, I'm sure those do well, but it would be really cool to see some proper original kind of programming that isn't just cringeworthy.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with YouTube executives or at least people who work at YouTube is they're perhaps slightly behind the times with
Yeah,
what's on their platform and what people think. And I think most of the mistakes they make aren't because they're trying to deceive or or manipulate their audience. It's because they just don't know what they actually want.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys have found that when you've spoken to YouTube people.
Yeah, I think a lot.
Not at all.
I mean, I have maybe a little bit more than Brian, but not a ton. The experience that I have is like they have an enormous platform. It's hard to expect them to know everything about every different kind of certain genre. And in every single genre, there are people speaking exactly like us about like, oh, why don't they pay more attention to us?
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so many different styles. And think about like English language YouTube is only like one part of it. Like Spanish YouTube is a whole nother, whole nother space that's maybe not exactly as big, but still pretty big.
Definitely
and
getting there.
Definitely getting there. So it's not even like there's even different languages that they have to deal with. And so we're just a tiny, tiny bit of it. So I think that's part of it. But I would agree that sometimes they do seem a bit, they don't know what's going on in a bit. And they could definitely, and in terms of more higher ups, they could improve on communication. But again, we're saying that I in particular know that my channel is like only breaking the top 20,000 in terms of subscriber size.
Mm.
And
I mean, when you put that into perspective, I mean, how many you've made so many videos that have done so well, and there's 20,000 people who have enjoyed more YouTube success. That's crazy to think of that.
Yeah,
that many people.
Mm-hmm.
20,000.
Yeah,
You're saying there's 20,000 channels with more subscribers.
Yep, you can see this on Social Blade.
It's definitely not 20,000 because I'm at like 6,000, like the rank.
Let's pull up the stats. Pretty sure, but I know I hear pretty often like like the first channel to hit 1 million subscribers was, I believe, Smosh.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was in like 2009 or 2008. And now,
I mean, to do that back then is amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brian, you were right. I was thinking video view rank. Anyway,
right, okay.
I'm the 5,336th largest in terms of subscribers. But still, to think that there are
5,000 people.
5,000 people who, probably not, there are probably a lot of, like music video channels on there and stuff like that and dead channels. But from that, there have to be at least, a few thousand people who are doing this full time with more success than me, and more success than people who spend their whole lives on this.
We finally did it, boys. We finally got the dream sponsorship. Anyone that has seen me in my videos knows I am a bit of a hairy man. I started growing my beard mostly because I hit puberty, but also because I hate shaving. It's expensive and it's uncomfortable, but I still need to keep my beard tidy and waste a stupid amount of money on razors from the shops that ultimately end up giving me friction rashes on my neck. Harry's blades are not only cheaper than the blades you buy in your store, but they're better too. This has been the best month of shaving I've ever had. No discomfort at all. Which has meant I am shaving more and looking better too. The fact they delivered it right to my house was just a cherry on top. I'm honestly so disappointed they don't ship to Ireland other than for special occasions like the sponsorship. Honestly, they are so good and they are confident enough in their product that they will send you a trial kit worth $13 with a lovely razor handle, a razor with 5 precision engineered blades, shave gel and a blade cover for free. I'm pretty confident you will want to keep your subscription too. You can sign up for that by going to harrys.com/showmakers. That's HARRYS.com/showmakers. It's funny as well. Like I always find with the YouTube community when they're complaining about something, like it's obviously par for the course with the type of people who start a YouTube channel. Everyone thinks they're fucking important. But like everyone wants to feel like their problems are more important, and it's just obviously YouTube is a company within itself and they have to worry about them first, and you're not like especially with the ad revenue stuff, no one is entitled to ad revenue. And it's just small things. Like I do it myself. I was kind of getting annoyed that I wasn't getting invited to some of the like kind of like you went to the New York YouTube space recently, didn't you, Mike? Yeah. So like I've never been invited to any of that kind of stuff, even in London. I find that stuff kind of frustrating because the people who don't show their face in the videos generally kind of get overlooked a little bit. But like it doesn't. I don't feel like I deserve it or anything, but it would just nice to be included sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I did think that when I was in New York, there was a lot of educational people, but there was a lot of people who, like that I was amazed that they weren't there. And if they were going to bring someone like me, it would be, you would think that they would also consider someone like, for example, Alex Steele. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a very small number of people who organize these kind of things, and it's just a case of being on their radar.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't think it's done via an algorithm, because if it was, it would be much more fair, right? Because it would be based on purely stats. But I really don't think it is. I think it's based on personal preference.
Yeah, and there definitely are some internal biases within YouTube, and what, like, you just have to look at YouTube Rewind for the type of stuff that they want to promote.
Yeah,
like that is essentially just an ad for YouTube.
Absolutely,
and they invite the kind of younger, good-looking people to be on it, which makes sense.
Yeah, and again, you can't blame them because they're getting the same kind of ad revenue, more or less, because obviously they're different CPMs, but they're getting the same ad revenue with, you know, Logan Paul or something. Well, I don't know what's a good example of like another channel, like, you know, we're getting probably on average 500 to 750,000 views per video, Brian and I. And there are vloggers who do that every single day.
Yeah,
that's insane.
So for them, the lower production value stuff, the stuff that can be pumped out more frequently, that's YouTube's niche. That's like where they can make a ton of money. Because they're not, you know, they're even a channel that's same size as mine and that's doing daily, that's getting the same amount of views, they're going to get 14 times more revenue from that channel. So they're 14 times more important to YouTube from a financial perspective. So, you know, math.
Yeah.
Got to start making daily vlogs, Sam.
Yeah. It's third channel starting soon.
You know, for the first time, I met a bunch of daily vloggers in New York and elsewhere, and I was surprised to find that their workflow is just as hectic as you'd think it would be. Because I know what I feel like if I try to upload every week. I'm totally burnt out. I'm frantic. The edit is just in time. It's like an all-nighter before it's up. I can't even imagine trying to film something every day. And I often ask them, what's it like being a daily vlogger? Like, what's your secret key to not being stressed? And more often than not, their answer was, I'm just stressed. There is no there is no magic. It's just you take a compromise and just do it until you burn out, I guess.
Yeah. Make your money and get out.
I can't imagine anyone doing that and not getting burnt out eventually. I cannot imagine that being like a permanent thing rather than a short-term kind of like path to success.
Yeah. What some people said, even Casey said that it is addictive in some way. And I was curious as to why is it addictive? Because why is that level of work addicting? But I think what they were referring to was the growth. Because I think it must work.
The interaction with your audience is pretty addictive as well.
Yeah.
Like that Q&A I put up yesterday, like I made that in about 3 hours, and like it was all over the fucking place. Like, but as I was making it, I was about to just scrap it, and I was like, I'll do this again. This is ridiculous. But then when I actually put it up, it was just nice seeing comments from everyone, and kind of like it was a bit more of a direct kind of conversation with the audience, and I could see why that would be addictive, of like just being able to talk and talk to a camera to like your massive audience every day. And it's cool. Like, it wasn't like my normal video of just like, I never get nervous putting up videos anymore. I just like put it up. It's like, okay, it's done. So I'm relieved. Yeah. That was kind of a different experience.
Here's a question for both of you, since you're two people who have now, Mike, you more than Brian, but you guys are both have been on camera. Do you have any, and I won't say why I'm asking this, but you might be able to figure out why. Do you have any regrets to having kind of given up that level of anonymity?
It's funny that you say that. But so I was in New York, and we went out for drinks, and then the next day I woke up, I felt like shit, and I looked like shit, and I was walking around New York, and I was just buying boxer shorts, like underpants, and I don't look any worse than that, and I got recognized in the street, and it doesn't happen very often at all. And I was like, oh, like, this is great. You know, someone's recognized me for the work that I've done on YouTube, but this is real. But God, do I look like shit today? And I just don't want to. I felt like saying, can you give me 10 minutes? And I'm just going to go like wash up, and then we'll come back and I'll chat to you for a bit. Because it was just, so that was the first time. I wouldn't describe it as regret, because, you know, I've got so much from being on camera, but it was a realization that, okay, you kind of, it's just something in the back of my mind that told me that, yeah, people are watching a lot more than they used to when you walk around the street now. And that's certainly not because, you know, I'm famous or anything like that, but it's just like the odd person recognizes you, and it's enough to make you think when you're out and about all the time that, you know, people might go, hey, is that guy? You know?
I would worry for myself, just my ego. I'm always trying to just quell the ego, because I don't like that side of my personality of getting cocky and stuff and thinking that I'm more important than I actually am. But like, I do enjoy when, like, it's only happened to me once or twice, and they didn't even recognize me. It's just like they found out through conversation of who I was.
All right.
The best one was VidCon. Sam was there too. We were at the Studio 71 party at VidCon LA. Are you going this year, actually?
Me?
Mike?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
When is VidCon?
June, I think.
Oh, yeah, but you got to go to VidCon Europe too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't go in June because I'm getting married in June.
Come on, you can reschedule that.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't think VidCon's my scene. Maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll have to go.
Oh no, it's an excellent
actually,
time.
Yeah. It's like the actual floor is shit. Like, you're just going to be surrounded by like little teenage girls. I think the funniest interaction me and Sam had were we went to Playlist Live in DC, and this was just an excuse to meet up. But we came out the kind of VIP door. It was like myself, Sam, and Dave,
and Joseph
Dave from Standard, and Joseph,
real life lore.
And we came out the door, and all these girls were waiting outside the door for like someone actually famous. I think they turned around, and one of them was like, "Oh, they're old."
Oh God!
Well,
I was like,
you're missing the part where you're missing the part where later, or might have been the same time, we walked, because this was at a big hotel, I think the Marriott in DC. And we walked past the front of the thing, and we still had our badges on, the kind of the future, or I don't remember what it's called, the equivalent of the future creator badges. And they all started screaming.
What, just because they saw the badges?
They didn't know.
Because they assumed we were famous, because we had the VIP badges on.
This makes me feel weird.
Did you embrace it? Did you just crowd like?
No, I think we were hiding the badges most of the time, so we wouldn't get that reaction. But yeah, with the VidCon, the Studio 71 thing was cool. That was just one of those big famous YouTube parties, and like Logan Paul was next to us at the bar with Dwarf Mamba and all that, and like, it was weird. But I remember was talking to, what's his channel? I can't remember his channel. He kind of one of these inventor channels, but he brought his friend along with him, and I was just talking to them, and like I wasn't talking about my channel, I was just talking to them. And then one of them asked me what I did. I was like, I do this channel called Real Engineering. And his friend just started freaking out. I was like, why you do real engineering? Oh my God, I work for SpaceX. And all. I was like, you work for SpaceX? What? Like, we're both like just freaking out, like both mutual admiration. I was like, that was a really cool experience.
That is awesome. Yeah. So did he have an inclination that it might be you based on your voice? Or did it just click for him?
I doubt it. I don't think my voice it's a bit different in person as well.
There are a lot of Irish people out there too.
Yeah. Sam, do you get voice recognized by people?
Never. Actually, no, that's not true. One person that I knew figured it out. Like they figured out it was me in part, like who didn't actually, like a casual acquaintance.
Oh, right.
Figured it out based off my voice.
So it's kind of like Spider-Man when people figure out that's him, right?
I also sound very different when I'm talking conversationally.
I think if I worked in a bank and I served you, Sam, I would know. Yeah. Well, I think I would be like, you're that guy, aren't you?
I don't think you would. That being said, there aren't, there are a good amount of Americans living in Scotland. I've received two DMs on Twitter from people who say that they've seen me in Edinburgh.
Okay,
but like didn't come up to me. But like they said that they recognized my voice or something. And one of them was actually credible based off giving a location.
Oh, I mean, what's the odds of the other one being fraudulent?
I don't know.
And I think is it common knowledge that you're in Edinburgh?
What I know now, it is because it's one of the Google autocomplete suggestions from when someone searches like Wendover Productions creator or something, because someone created a thread in like the r/Edinburgh subreddit asking like, who are some YouTubers in Edinburgh? And the top answer was me. And it's not, like I've said this a few times, like I've said it in the podcast, I've said it in comments like once or twice, and obviously there are people that I know here that know that. Like, this is going back to what you said earlier about making bread. There's just a lot of people on the internet. So someone's got to know the answer, and someone did. And now I'm constantly surprised by the amount of people who will like email me saying, I'm in Edinburgh, or DM me saying, I'm in Edinburgh too, if you want to do this or meet or something like that.
I mean, if someone cold emailed you saying, "Hey, I'm a fan, I'm in Edinburgh, do you want to go for a coffee?" Would you do that?
I have not ever done that. I think if there were another relation, or they said like, they like knew a mutual friend or something, or like it was a slightly business type thing, maybe.
If there's some sort of connection, right?
Yeah, but just like cold call, I want to get coffee. No, partially because like, not to sound like an asshole, but like I'm pretty busy. Yeah. But also partially because I think it'd be weird, and I'm a very awkward person in general, especially when meeting new people. So I don't think I could do it in a way that would be like very pleasant experience for me or potentially the other person either.
Yeah. That's something I've recognized as well. So if I've met other creators in particular and we're going to some event and we've obviously Googled each other, so you don't look like an asshole when you show up and you don't know who anyone is. If they meet you, I always feel as if I'm going to be underwhelming compared to if they've watched one of my videos in real life. Like I'm just going to be subdued, and I've not had my coffee yet, and I mumble a lot more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you kind of feel like you need to perform or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of odd when you meeting people that like know you as well. Like I've had some weird experiences as well. Like I've had a girl come up to me and say like, "Why are plane windows round?" I was like, "I don't know. This is weird." And this was in Galway as well. Like this wasn't this wasn't like at an event or anything. I was just kind of freaked out. I was like, "Oh, you watched the video? It's nice." But I was like, "I'm just gonna go over here now."
She probably thought that was such a cool thing to say, and I can kind of understand from her perspective. Like,
yeah,
I'll go up to him and I'll prove to him that I've watched the videos, because you don't want to be the person who pretends to know someone and has never watched their videos.
yeah.
Oh God, I've got such a horrible story. So we were at YouTube Space in New York, and they got Bob Odenkirk and Tom Hanks in, because they were promoting a film called The Post, which comes out, I think, February or something like that. So we got to meet the guys, and we didn't know that we were going to meet these two ultra celebrities, and they are celebrities in the purest form of the word.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm a Tom Hanks fan, but I'm also a massive Bob Odenkirk fan. I love Better Call Saul, I love Breaking Bad, and I love a film he's in called Nebraska. So I walked up to him, starstruck that it's Bob, and the only thing I can think of to say is some sort of Better Call Saul reference. Which, so I walk up to him and I shake his hand and I go, "Hi, I'm Mike," and he goes, "Hi, I'm Bob," and I go, "Do you mind if I call you Saul?" And as soon as I said it, I'm just like, "Oh no, that's so cringy." And then he's like, "Well, my name's Bob." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And then we took the photo and then I walked away, and that was it. And I just cringed for the entirety of his talk, which was at least 45 minutes. I was like, "Why did I say that? It's so stupid." But there you go. So Bob Odenkirk doesn't like me. I'm probably not even pronouncing the second name right either.
It's playing it cool when you meet someone you know is difficult, I guess.
Yeah, especially if you are starstruck, if you are awed by their presence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I messed up.
I think that's the thing that's taken me aback the most, is like how not weird it's been meeting YouTubers. Like, just meeting other YouTubers has just felt super normal.
Yeah.
Like, no one acts like they're famous or anything. Like, I'm meeting Destin and Brady and them for the first time, and it was just like kind of standing around talking about like sports and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, that is strange, because I mean, Brady's not so on camera so much, but Destin is a proper YouTube superstar. So yeah, I've never met him in person. I think I would feel sort of lackluster standing next to Destin.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting to be a bit more nervous and kind of shy around him, but it's just like a normal conversation with anyone else. Yeah. Like, he's really down to earth, and I think that's the main theme. Like, most VidCon people, like everyone's pretty down to earth. There's one or two people that were a bit not down to earth, but you'll always get that.
Yeah, yep, of course.
You almost feel like you know these people that you see on camera already, so it's just like meeting someone you know in a way. Yeah, where obviously they don't know you, and people often say this as like a reason why being famous in a way is weird, because people think they know you, but you don't know them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this asymmetric relationship.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think the like the one person, like, we've talked about that, and we had like a house party at VidCon and invited loads of the educational people over. But it was, I remember, like, Gray came in and kind of sat in the corner, and I like wanted to go over and talk to him, but I was kind of too nervous to go over and talk to him. And then later on, he came out and just was chatting to us in the kitchen. I was like, this is just like a normal house party.
Yeah.
A normal house party with 20 million subscribers in the room.
Yeah. If Gray sat next to me, I would have no idea. I mean, I'm a Gray super fan. I have no idea what he looks like.
Oh, we'll have to change that.
Just send me a candid photo or something like that. Or just meet him.
You met Casey and all these big, huge vloggers, and you were involved with this Casey Neistat Christmas special thing, weren't you?
Yeah.
I think I spotted you at one point with a very blurry handheld shot off a phone.
Yeah, I made at least 3 frames in that 7-minute video, so I was pretty pumped about that. I think there's a shot at the back of my head as well. But the thing, it wasn't really about the video, and that was made clear that the thing was, and it was a pretty cool idea actually, was to just get 18 creators to go to Milwaukee and meet these kids from the Boys and Girls Club, which is, as far as I understand it, it's like a after school club for underprivileged kids, and it's all over the US. So Samsung gave us this amazing equipment to just hand to the kids, and just teach them how to use it. So needless to say, it was absolute mayhem handing out $5,000 of Samsung gear to school kids. But I mean, they were so chuffed, so happy to get a phone. So it was just nice to see that. And then Samsung shot this video, and we were also kind of chaperones in the video, just to make sure that everything went okay. So yeah, it was cool to first of all meet these kids and give them some presents, and then also just to experience this production that they put on, because I don't think the video shows the level of production that went into this. It was insane, absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it. Really amazing to see.
Oh, well, I was watching it and I'd seen, I think on Twitter or something, that you had been a part of it. So I was kind of like, kind of starting to watch it and watch out for you in it. And I saw these snowboarders doing like aerial 360s at the beginning. I was kind of wondering if that was the latest Learn Quick, but I'm assuming not.
No.
I had the same thought.
Yeah. So they made it very clear that none of us are to attempt to that jump. That jump was sketchy. These guys were like X Game pros, and they were crashing on that jump. It had a really slow run up and then a really short landing. Super difficult. But no,
Yep.
I was just there to wander around and help people use the phones, and
You didn't even get to fly in the drone.
I didn't
no?
get to fly in the drone, no. But I did get to touch the drone and see how it all works. It was cool.
I'd enjoy that.
And it looked like a death machine.
That was a question I wanted to ask you. You're an engineer in background.
Yes.
I saw when you're learning quick with the chalk thing that you were a lecturer as well. Do you still lecture?
No. So for one semester, only one semester, I did a job. I had a job at a college in London, where I taught. I taught college kids. So not if people in the US are listening to this, I believe there's a different definition of college and university and things like that.
Yeah.
College is kind of like in Europe. I think some people will call it gymnasium, and in Scotland we certainly call it college. It's kind of like the 2 years between school and university. So 16 to 18. So I was teaching them mechanical engineering principles. Yeah, it was interesting. They were, if any of those guys are listening, those students are listening to this podcast, let me know, because they were a great bunch of students. I loved working with them.
Again, we keep talking about VidCon, but like VidCon was a pretty pivotal moment in terms of meeting a lot of these people who we had never met before, kind of like the big dogs of educational YouTube.
Really?
So
I just thought VidCon would be an empty hall just full of everyone just chaotically running around.
VidCon is not about VidCon.
But there's different areas.
VidCon is like a holiday. Yeah. It's like a you go there and you don't go to the conference center. You meet or you do maybe, but you just meet these people, and it's an excuse for everyone to be in the same place at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
just turns up into it's just there's obviously stuff people have to do during the day, but we just use it as an excuse to meet up with people, because like I work by myself most of the time, so it's nice. I'll take any excuse to like go out and kind of meet people working in the same space. Like especially in Galway, I can't talk about my job in Galway. Like people don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of once every now and again kind of meet up with people who are in the same industry as you.
Yeah.
And totally. I now know what's very exciting is I now know 2 Scottish YouTubers.
You know me and who else?
Oh, are you gonna guess?
Do you know Ryan?
No.
Or
I'll say I've met many more Scottish YouTubers since it was a creator day, but in terms of no. Think educational YouTube.
Educational YouTuber Scottish. Am I being dense here? Who is it?
It's the guy behind the channel, Wonder Why.
Okay.
Wonder Why.
Wonder Why. Have you seen it?
I don't think I have.
He uploads a video like every like half a year.
Okay.
but he has like a good following. But he has like 24 videos. I'm just looking now. 24 videos and over 400,000 subscribers, which is quite the ratio.
Yeah. Right. I'm subbing now.
Anyway, you'll have to meet him. He's out past Glasgow, like nearest Glasgow. Anyway, you guys are.
We have to get a coffee, Sam.
Yeah. Well, you
or would that be weird for you?
No, because we have an excuse.
That's good. Let's do it.
Yeah, but
I'll come too. I want to go to Edinburgh.
Yeah, you should you should come and live here, and we can have like a mega studio, Brian.
Yeah, or Brian,
sounds like a plan.
If you have something where you need a space, let me know.
Okay.
You won't need to take over, tripods and cameras and lights and stuff because they're all there. So yeah, whenever you need it.
That would be pretty sweet. I started looking for a studio now, which is why I asked you in the first place. Started looking at a place in Dublin, but it's so expensive. It's I'm kind of adverse to spending money.
Yeah, I mean,
like I got to this point by saving and kind of preparing to quit my job.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of in that scenario of I just want to have like a big cushion before I make any big purchases.
Yeah.
See, the advantage of Scotland is that property generally costs nothing here.
Yep, especially where I am in Scotland.
Yep, especially outside of Edinburgh and Glasgow.
Yeah, and for commercial property, it's really cheap because I don't know. I wouldn't say that Scotland's struggling at the moment, but places are empty that you can find that are hilariously cheap. Some would say.
Yeah, I've casually looked at it too, and like if I were to go outside of Edinburgh, I could get a space very easily.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys, how much do you work?
Too much.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to fix that now. Like the last 2 years, haven't really had any real time off since I started. It's kind of been consistently, I'd say like 10, 11 hour days. Like I work at the weekends a lot as well. But like it's because I want to. It's not like I don't get up in the morning and be like, ugh, like I don't want to work. I just wake up really late.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to wake up early when you don't have to. But yeah, I'd say average 50, 60 hour weeks.
Sam?
Yeah, I'm similar boat, quite a bit with the added factor of being in university full time.
Oh yeah, you're young, right?
Yeah,
you're young.
So that always takes a decent amount of time, but I'm pretty good about basically ignoring those commitments and spending time on writing scripts. Most of my work goes to writing scripts, increasingly less towards the animation and editing aspect.
Yeah.
And then I also tend to be traveling quite a bit, which, it's very hard to work when traveling. So yeah, generally I have limited free time, but also I realize like whenever I happen to have like a free hour, I'm not really sure I'm fine with free time that's I've planned for, because then I'll plan to like, go out or like I'll go kayaking a lot on the weekends and stuff. So I'm fine if like I plan recreational, non-work type things. But if I just have a free hour,
yeah,
I don't really know what to do with it.
Yes, I feel better now that you've said that. Because last night I had a couple of hours free, and I just thought to myself, what am I going to do? I've been working so hard for like 6 weeks in a row that it feels strange to not be doing that. Feels like I should be working all the time.
Yeah. Like I was planning to take this week off and just kind of relax, and then I ended up going into the office anyways because I just didn't know what to do. And like I should go exercise or something, but it's kind of cold. But then that thing with the new channel kind of fell onto my lap during the weekend. Like that wasn't a pre-planned thing. They literally just emailed me last weekend. It's like, would you be interested in starting a new channel to cover World War II? I'm like, yes, that would be cool.
Was that an Insta yes?
Well, no, we got on a Skype call and talked it out, kind of trying to figure out how I would fit into it, because I don't know enough about World War II to say to commit to a 6-year-long project, like covering it from start to finish. But I think I'm just going to try and do kind of Tom Scott type stuff on location with different technology and
on camera
stuff. Maybe, like, I need to figure it out. Like, it doesn't start until next September.
It'd be a good format change.
Yeah, it'll give me an opportunity, because I don't want on-camera stuff on my channel. I think it's been established as a kind of animated, what's the video
Explainer.
essay kind of channels. So I don't want to disrupt that too often. So I think it would be a cool way to kind of approach different topics. And I think I'm just going to end up doing a trip to like France or Germany or something, recording like 4 videos in one weekend or a few days, and just use that for the next 4 months or something, because I don't know how time wise I'm going to have to hire people to help me with the animation side more, because so too much work.
If you need Normandy is one of the most fascinating places in the world, so if you need a camera person, you know who to call, Brian.
All right, that would be very handy.
And I also speak French.
I'm disappointed I couldn't go to Guam with you.
Oh yeah, that's I'll update you on that.
Okay,
something has evolved, but
secret project.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But I just realized that I just remembered that I speak French, so I'm actually quite useful for France. So please bring me. I like France.
Okay.
I want to go to Normandy.
If I don't have to pay you for camera operation, you're hired.
I'll just travel wherever for any excuse.
Yeah.
Big character flaw.
A deal being done on the podcast.
Oh, this happens all the
Brian
time.
Trying to get free camera work.
we make huge business decisions on the podcast, and this way, like, I've already agreed to it. So here's our contract.
Mm-hmm. And people were asking you to be involved with the big collaboration.
I did see
the
that
Q&A video.
I don't know anything about World War II. That's not true. I don't know much about World War II.
But
I'm gonna have to research. But yeah, I think we're coming to did you have any more questions?
No. I was just interested because going forward, 2018, my plan is to carve out free time more and actually have it as something I actively try and do, rather than just saying yes to everything. I'm going to start saying no a bit more, because I think I'm going to hit burnout soon.
Yeah, I think the studio will help you a lot with that, to be able to separate work and life. Like when you're in the studio, you're working. With your home, you're not. And like for me, you seem like you're in pretty good shape, but the last month or so, I've got so unfit. And part of that was because I was fairly consistently sick. And that the first time in years where I've been like sick for more than a day. Just like got nothing done. And my work-life balance has just been completely thrown off.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to take care of ourselves, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Not you,
Sam. Take some of that Casey Neistat running juice.
Sam's too young.
I don't know why I said juice.
You guys Brian's only like 6 years older than me, first of all. 7 maybe.
Thanks.
What age are you, by the way, Mike?
I'm 27.
Okay, so same age as me. I'm pretty sure I've asked you that before.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't feel as if age is preventing me from working hard. I just think that working, like you, Brian, you said 2 years you've had very little time to yourself, and it's the same for me. And I think after 2 years, I'm just like, right, it needs to happen next year. Otherwise, I think I won't be able to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's going to take all the fun out of it. Like I felt that already. I'd say, like the last 2 months, I said, screw it, I'm not traveling anymore, because I'd been traveling nearly the entire year this year for different events. And I got home, I was like, I am so burnt out. I'm not really enthusiastic about this channel anymore. I just kind of it's become a job. And this month I've done like trying to take back. I was planning to just do one video, but then one of my animators, Sebas, he had a bit of free time and he wanted to work on a video, so we started doing one. So I don't like turning down opportunities like that. So I was like, okay, now I have to work on this script too. But yeah, I've been taking it a lot more easy and I feel a bit more relaxed. And like the next 2 weeks, I'm pretty much free. So I think I'm just going to hit like 2018, the ground running, and hopefully get a studio and kind of have a bit more of a how would he structured kind of work flow, rather than having to run between my office and going home to record. Because like that alone would save me. If I can, I've said this already, but if I can fix the script on the fly, it would just save me so much time. And like I'd say that would reduce like 2 days of animation down to 1 day sometimes, because sometimes you just like, feck it, I'll do the fix tomorrow, when you could just do it on the spot and get it done.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I've only been in the studio a week, but I'll be sure to let you know whether or not it's financially ruined me or improved the channel somewhat.
I think you'll be happy with it.
Anyway,
thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks for being on it. It was fun.
Not a problem. I look forward to meeting you in person sometime soon.